La Resortera.
Okay, guys, here we are. I'm
Hello.
so excited this week. As you can see, we have some extra bodies here in the studio for the podcast. And we have Christopher Drown and Pablo Arias. Sorry. Arias. Why did how long have I known you and how did I mess that up? Arias. I got nervous. Really excited to have them here. Some of you might already know some of their faces. Well, maybe from my YouTube videos. Maybe from some of you have come to the retreats. If you guys have come, you saw Chris last retreat. You saw Pablo and every retreat. Pablo does customs and shipping. Chris does home inspection, constructions inspections. He can talk a little bit about that. And yeah, so when I say that these people are some of my favorite people, I'm just very excited to have them here. So thanks, guys, for being here.
These guys are great.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure. We've been hearing your podcast for now a few weeks. So it's we're excited to be here. I'm excited to be here.
Me too.
Yeah.
Very cool.
All right. So Thanksgiving was last week. How was everybody's Thanksgiving?
Good.
Get a little closer to the mic.
All right. It was good.
Yeah?
Let's see. My wife, son, and we celebrated in Los Sueños
Nice.
with a group of friends. We have a friend of a friend who owns a few houses out there, and they hired a chef. And Jazz and I, my wife, were kind of worried about what the Thanksgiving dinner was going to be like, if it was going to be a traditional Thanksgiving, because it was a Tico chef. And Thanksgiving is my wife's favorite holiday. And before we were invited, we were going to make all the fixings ourselves. But we went down there and, man, the food was spot on. I asked the guy, I'm like, dude, did you study in Texas? Like, this food's amazing. So we had a great time.
Nice.
Perfect. Maybe to give us a little bit of background. So I obviously know your story here. So you want to tell us a little bit about when you moved here and how your life has progressed since then. So I think it's nice to get your perspective as someone now who's moved.
For sure. Okay. My wife and I moved here in 2021. We did a bunch of research on a few different countries before moving here. We actually talked to a couple relocation consultants specifically for Costa Rica. And Sarah was the second person we talked to. And we went with her. Like, blew the other one out of the water, and she guided us through the process. Since then, we've had a child. We've bought a house. Thank you. Child is almost 3 now. We bought a house and started a business. So we're doing well here in Costa Rica.
The kid was born here in the States?
Yeah, he was born here.
He's the Costa Rican.
Yeah.
Es un tico.
Tico, US Tico. Tico US.
Tico US in this case.
Yeah.
I have seen Christopher's journey. We met
when I was in Texas.
Yeah.
Yep.
We first met through a consultation call because we did your move. But after that, and after the move, we met a few times.
Yeah.
And I remember you were moving around Costa Rica, in Dominical or Ojochal, and then you guys decided to move to Escazú, and then Luca came along, and we have done a few things together. I have seen your journey, even to your research on how to, build your business in Costa Rica. We talked a few times.
We've met a few times for
proud
business.
of you. I mean, it's in only 3 years, be able to move, have a kid, and buy a house, and build your business in Costa Rica. That's amazing.
Well, as a business owner from the States and Costa Rica, when we moved here, that was one of our criteria, was being able to start a business here, and really looked up to Sarah, looked up to Pablo, because he has a business mind. The wheels are always turning from all different directions. And Andreas was another person we looked up to, and met Jairo recently, and we've had business meetings, and love what y'all are doing.
Awesome.
So,
Well, we're excited to have you here. It's been fun to watch your journey for sure.
Thank you.
It's been awesome.
Thank you.
One of the success stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Big success story. And Pablo, tell us a little bit about you so can people... you're very popular, man.
Everybody knows
I'm not sure if
Pablo.
I'm very popular.
Everybody knows you, man. But for those who don't, let them know who you are.
I'd like to start with my Thanksgiving story.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Yes.
Forgot about Thanksgiving. I was doing nothing but working. So I was in Mexico taking a seminar on business and marketing, which was amazing. I learned
Why didn't you
a
take
lot.
me with you?
I forgot to.
You should.
I want to, business trips,
Yeah,
future business trips until you're ready for travel and collaboration.
Like for real.
I tell you, I have a list
Because
of things that we can all go. Like seminars and
One of the things that I most admire about you is that you're very smart and you're very prepared. I mean, not only being smart, but you study to be even better. So when you go to those things, hey, put me in your mind.
My background is like
me.
I don't know
tips.
much. I have little to no education or formal education, and I know that. So this is my pitfall. So I need to constantly look for ways to improve myself.
That's the way to do
Invite me whenever you go to those things. Invite me.
And yeah, I mean, being humble in one side is, I didn't have the chance. I started working when I was 17 years old. I moved to the United States, just like any other immigrant. Or we call it we talk about immigration and people move to our countries and the expat, who moves here. I was somehow an immigrant in the United States trying to learn everything from scratch. And I did construction like 65 hours a week. South Carolina, heat in the summer and winter, not a nice job. I will say many Costa Ricans will not do that. Many local ticos will just rather do less than 40 hours and get whatever. So that's my background, just working a lot when I was in my early 20s. And I knew that if I wanted to grow and do something, I just needed to learn. So very early, I started listening to books, audiobooks, sales books, business books. And one day, eventually, it got me a job in sales because I did realize, man, if I wanted to have business, I need to know how to sell. So I went to this popular bookstore. What is the name? Barnes
and Noble.
Yeah, very popular store. We just go there and buy me. And I didn't like how to read. I mean, I hate reading, by the way. So I bought a sales book. It was the smallest book. It was like tiny. It was tiny and it had a lot of pictures. Like you see the pictures.
Did they pop up?
Almost.
That's the kind of books I read.
That's what you're reading to Luca, right?
But when you look at different sales techniques, strategies, now that I'm thinking how I do business today, that book, the first sales book I ever saw, it does represent what I do now. It was a book of not real sales, but branding. It was a book of being the author, the speaker, being the person people go to instead of being chasing and begging people for business. It was a book about that. And after I was halfway through the book, and I said to myself, I'm not going to learn how to sell through this book. I just got to get me a job in sales. So I walked into a dealership one day, like the next few days, I walked into a dealership and I started asking, can I buy a car? What do I need? Do I need credit? I didn't know anything about anything. Oh man, this story is going to get long. It's going to be a long story.
It's okay.
I've heard this story. That's a great story.
And the sales guy, he was a guy from Uruguay, Fabricio, by the way. He became my friend later. And I asked him, well, did you like your job? And he goes like, yeah, I love sales. Oh, that's amazing. How much money you make? Oh, I make a lot of money. Oh, so the next day I went into the dealership. I walked into the management office and literally just asked for the job. Just, hey, it was a little longer. I just want to summarize it, but literally just went to like, hey, I hear you might need a salesperson. By the way, I'm the youth pastor of my congregation for the Hispanic community. And I make, I connect well with people, but I didn't speak English. So I did this with like half English, half Spanish, and the guy didn't understand completely. But the guy was impressed for me, just approach him. He didn't give me a job. And he gave me a job. I was like, oh, let me think about it. So that, like in the US, you have all these dealerships put together, like Nissan, Infiniti, Mazda. They're all in the same place. So I went into the next one. I said the same thing. I went into the next one. And by the time I got to Chrysler, the guy at Chrysler said, hey, yes, we have a training position starting on Monday.
Perfect.
I was like, wow, okay. But I didn't know anything about Chrysler. I hated Chrysler. Nobody, I have nothing against, Chrysler, but just back then, I just didn't know anything about it. I was only 22, 23 maybe. So I said, oh, that's amazing. So I'm going to start on Monday. So I went into the first dealership. It was a Nissan store, which I like Nissan. It was Japanese trucks. In Costa Rica, we either buy Toyotas or Nissans for the most part. And I said to the manager for Nissan, hey, you know what? The guy at Chrysler gave me a job. I'm going to start on Monday. But you know what else? I think I'd rather sell Nissans. And the guy was just, his eyes was like, wow, yes, I need you here. And then he hired me. Nice. Out of just hustling, I guess, or out of.
Sounds like you'd be a good poker player.
Was that awkward? Was that awkward? Like waving at the guy at Chrysler, like, yay.
But just, I mean, you picture this guy, Hispanic. He barely speak English. I do a little better now, but back then my English was not good at all. Like people would understand half of the sentence I will say. And when I was selling a car, I knew they were not understanding. So I would just go, and he was like, what? I'll just go like chimichanga and taco, and they will laugh at me. And they will buy the car out of maybe empathy, or maybe because I was funny, or maybe whatever. I don't know.
Were you selling cars to many Spanish-speaking folks in the States?
That was the dealership plan. They wanted to have a Hispanic salesperson, but 80% of my customers were white Americans, or I don't know.
English speakers.
English speaking. First trading was a Porsche 911 1996 for a Nissan Maxima 2005. That was the year, brand new Nissan Maxima. And I didn't speak barely nothing. And I was like, yeah, look at this huge trunk. And I would just get, I'm a tall dude, right? I'll just get into the trunk and just shut the trunk so they can see it was a big trunk. Things like that, like funny and crazy things that will make me, I guess, funny and earn the trust and empathy from my potential customers, and then follow up like crazy, and then like anything. It was a good place to start.
And now, where are you?
As I say, so today in business.
Tell people what you do today.
From there, and I like to start with my story in the States, because I feel the empathy of why, I have suffered all of the pain points you as an expat suffered. Like I know, I never really did immigration, so I was an illegal immigrant. Every time I tried to do immigration, it was impossible. I didn't met the requirements. I didn't know what to file taxes after like 5 years later. So I got me a tax ID number 5 years later. I'm gonna start getting returns from the IRS. 5 years later. So I didn't even know how to get a driver license. Then eventually I find out maybe some states in North Carolina they were giving licenses to immigrants like me. So it was really, really hard to make a living and to feel okay. And you always feel like you can be caught. Like if the police will stop you or anything, you always feel like this fear. And when I look at my customers today, I kind of feel like the same way. They come here and they don't know a lot of different things, and things that for me are very basic or common sense, or I could just say, well, why didn't you just do this and this and do these 3 things? And to me, I feel so good because after a consultation call, they go like, oh, thank you. It's like I feel their appreciation.
Well, you can relate and you have empathy.
Of course.
For the immigrant.
And now when I'm hiring, it's been maybe 2 or 3 years since I take a consultation call. We are a team of 8 now. I have a small team in Nicaragua. We are registered to do business in United States. That's where we do our taxes and we invoice customers. Guatemala, brand is registered in Guatemala, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama. And we are selling five countries. And today we are selling more Mexico than Costa Rica. Wow. And we started in Costa Rica. And it's been only a year since I started going on making trips to Mexico to open and to grow the network in Mexico.
Wow.
So it's growing, and it's hard because you want to grow, you want to have consistency on your service. You let sometimes customers down, and then you have to fix things, and it costs me a lot of money to fix things. But it's part of the growing pains of scaling your business. Eventually, you have to decide you want to help more people or you want to stay in a lifestyle business, which this is what you call lifestyle business. Like Sarah, you have lifestyle businesses, your family, your house, your ways of income. But if you want to scale that, you might be doing $1 million a year, but you want to scale that to $10 million, you need an entire team to do an entire set of knowledge, rules, regulation. I mean, things that you need to figure out, or how to attract the right people. And that's my journey today. Trying to learn, because honestly, I don't know how to do this. I know I'm going to pull it off somehow. But that's kind of my journey now. And we are doing probably a year. Last year, we did 155 shipping containers
Nice.
for Costa Rica alone.
Wow. That's amazing.
So one of the things we wanted to bring you guys over was to, since you both are businessmen in Costa Rica, Sara has her company, I have my company. Maybe today we can talk a little bit about how is it to make business in Costa Rica different than in other countries. You have expertise in Panama, Mexico, Costa Rica, and many other countries. But what's the feeling of you guys making business here in Costa Rica?
So I deal with a lot of contracting.
Get closer to that.
I deal with a lot of contracting, writing contracts and reviewing contracts. As one of the things I do is I guide people through building houses. So I'm not an architect. I'm not a builder here in Costa Rica, but I guide you through making sure we build the correct team. So doing business in Costa Rica, I found that you have to have clear communication, not just verbally. Anything you talk about it, get it in writing. Not because you don't
100%.
trust the person, but because people forget. People have different understandings of what was just verbally said. And you need something to go back to, be like, no, we agreed on this.
That's a key.
So, and then also vet. If you're going to build a house, I'm going to keep going back to building. If you're going to build a house, talk to at least 5 different architects and narrow it down and try to compare them apples to apples. What does this person offer? What does this person not offer? Also talk to their clients. Get a set of building plans that they worked on. What is this set of building plans missing? So just do a bunch of research going into it, and if as a North American working in Costa Rica, there are a lot of people out there that appreciate the North American business style. So if that's something you're comfortable with, you can find those people, and you're paying a certain amount of money, that there's people there who will meet you.
And what is your perspective as far as getting the permits?
So that's up to the architect. So that goes back to vetting.
Okay.
Ask them, hey, are you I got a job in Cocoa Beach right now. Like, I'm interviewing architects. Like, hey, are you experienced in this area? Have you built in this community?
Okay.
What issues have you run into? This is a brand new community. What's it like getting water here? What's your experience? And
Okay, so if I'm understanding, I'm the client, and I say, Chris, help me out getting the right team to build my house.
yeah.
And you get to talk to different architects, and then you tell me which one you consider is the best.
Is
it like that?
We're a team. So you come to me with your architect recommendations. I put it in my spreadsheet. I come to you with my architect recommendations. We put in a spreadsheet, and then there's a bunch of different checklists in the spreadsheet about how you feel and what these people meet. We talk to them multiple times, each architect, and we're trying to cross people off the list. We're working hard
To decide the best one.
Some people are easy to cross off. Some, like this client, they brought me 2 architects. I already vetted 2 of these guys with other clients. We could cross them off right away because I'm like, man, I've spent hours talking to these guys. They don't make the cut. So let's not waste any more time.
All right.
So we do it together.
What about you? What do you before we started recording, you mentioned something that we all laughed about.
What was it?
when I said, what do you think about making business in Costa Rica?
It's kind of like a joke, but it's kind of true. If I am in you guys' shoes as a newcomer or as an expat, I will not do business in Costa Rica. If it's in my hands, there is a lot of different options that people could try to earn money. Not in Costa Rica.
Why?
That's because it's hard. I mean, I remember the first year when I filed taxes in Costa Rica. I didn't pay myself a salary, so I was just working, have some like $600 a month, trying to have some money. That was it. I didn't pay myself a real salary, right? So I had a business partner, the same thing. She make a salary. we scratched all the money we could possibly have together to buy a small moving truck. It's there. I still have that moving truck. And then when we went in September, I think, to file taxes, they charged me like $18,000
Crazy.
on taxes.
Wow.
So I was like, I didn't pay myself. I bought this truck, and the way they saw it is because the truck is an asset. You're paying yourself with a truck.
Okay.
So I didn't pay myself a salary because I bought a truck. Then I have to pay the government $18,000. It was just crazy. I just didn't understand. That was my first year trying to do a business. I just recently quitted another international shipping and moving company. I went into it myself. First year is like you got hit with this amount of money, and then this just happened to me. I opened another business. I run this business for a year in partnership with my brother, and you hire people if it doesn't work out, but we hire somebody that is essential for their business to run. It's not a lot of money, but it's still a nice investment, $2,000 a month plus social benefits. So you end up being around $2,500. After a year, you make this, $30,000 investment into a business that did not work. And if the person does not cut it, that's not, it's not, then I have to pay then if I want to let them go, I think just pay $7,000 to close that business. $7,000 plus other different things that I had to pay. So just to shut down a business and a corporation, if you have employees and you're paying taxes and you have all the different things, you could be paying, in my case, about $10,000 after letting an employee go that is registered officially in the Costa Rica government, closing the taxes part and closing the corporation. So that's not the shipping business. It's a different business, but it's that hard. So if you're doing business in Costa Rica or anywhere, I mean, I did research these laws in Mexico are 10 times worse. Plus, you have the corruption and the mafia, whatever, all extortion.
Sarah and I have spoke a lot in other episodes about the bureaucracy of getting things, registered and taxes and all that can be complicated.
Yeah, especially if you don't speak the language. I always tell people, like I have people, of course, okay, what should I actually had a text right now about someone wanting to talk about starting a business. I always recommend you need to work with an amazing lawyer that's going to explain every piece of it to you. So when someone asks me about it, I want them to understand everything that goes into it, because it's just, I think once they fully understand everything, then they can decide, okay, do I want to make a business or not? So usually I'll have calls, should I start a business? And I'm like, personally, I wouldn't. I would source your internet online, digital nomad or whatever it is. Like that's going to be your most pain-free way to make it down here. But there are people who do it. Obviously, people do it, but it's not an easy place to have a business.
I have a couple of ideas with this, a couple of concepts. One is people underestimate the amount of time, energy, and money that you will need to run a successful business. Yep.
Time and energy. It takes a certain person to be a business owner.
Actually, today, in my company, I have been introducing people, the people that work with me every single month. And today, they introduced me. And like in the first letters of the introduction to presenting me as the owner of the car rental company was, and they interviewed me like 3-4 months ago, so I totally forgot about this. And I started mentioning when I started this business, I didn't sleep. I cry a lot.
Oh yeah.
I throw so many tears.
Yeah.
And I barely was sleeping 2 to 3 hours a day.
Wow.
To get, to where I'm at right now. So
to wake up with anxiety, I remember that. Did I miss something important?
Yeah, and I was
my hair.
I was not talking to my wife. I was not talking to my daughters because I was so focused on doing what I was doing. So yeah, starting up a business is not easy. But I mean, like Sarah said, you gotta find something that will really make you feel good, and then you understand, that is gonna work out.
Yeah.
The other thing is, if you're moving from United States or you're moving from Canada or other markets, it's easier to open businesses in the United States. I mean, you go online, you want an LLC, you go online, you pay $300 to $400, and you have an LLC in 2 weeks, and it's done. You go and find yourself a CPA, and if you are doing something basic, you pay every tax. If you are W2, you pay a fee, maybe $50 for the basic thing with one of these companies to file your taxes. And if you want an expert on your particular field or industry, you can pay $500 to have somebody that is a CPA, that is an expert on whatever you're doing. Maybe from there all the way up to maybe $2,000 a year if you really want to have the guru on your niche market. And the information is there, and it's easier, and it's clean. I mean, it's online. Most of it is there, and you can find people that can coach you for a fee. So then you come to Latin America trying to do business, and the information is not available. Everything is in another language, and there is all kinds of fees and things that you have to be worried about that you didn't know. And the sad thing about it is people go into business thinking, oh, I can just start selling. And yes, for the most part, you can be under the radar for maybe 6 months or maybe a couple of years. But eventually, this could bite you. I mean, it could hurt you. So my reasoning is, why are you coming from Florida or from Milwaukee to San Jose or to Jaco to open a business here, where our population here, we're only 5 million people for the entire country? There is no distribution system that is proper for the entire country. I mean, you want to sell something, it's a pain to have it delivered in different areas in the country. In Ojochal, how do you want to sell whatever your oil to somebody in Ojochal?
Now you know why Amazon is not in Costa Rica.
And then you live in Guanacaste, so there is not a cost-effective way of distribution. There's many more challenges, and then you're only tackling on a small little market share, less than 5 million people. And out of those 5 million people, the people that may be interested on your market is very tiny. And then getting those customers to buy you through marketing and through whatever you're doing, maybe Facebook groups or content, is hard to get them to buy. And on top of that, you're competing with 100 other ticos who are selling for less.
Yep.
100 other ticos will be selling for less because they only need $1,000 a month to survive, while you're used to a $3,000 a month lifestyle, or maybe more. So trust me, it's going to be a lot more competitive than what you're thinking. And it's going to cost you a lot more. And then you're tackling a market that is only 5 million people, while in Florida alone, just Florida could be 30 million people. And there is a distribution system, and you can sell to the entire United States if you know how to do it. And that's just talking about products and e-commerce, but there are many other ways to make money in the United States easier. And if you know how to make this and learn how to make this, then you can have a nice digital nomad lifestyle.
All right. Well,
Totally.
the very last advice I can give everybody is like Sarah just said, and I said this in pretty much every episode that we talk about making a business: lawyer up.
Yes, lawyer up. Having a good lawyer is going to save you a lot of headaches. It's going to save you a lot of money. And it's worth even paying one for that consult so that you don't lose a bunch of money in the end, starting a business and then finding out, okay, this isn't viable. And just really think about it. It's like having a baby.
Yep.
Having a business is like having a baby. You got to really think about it before you do this, because it's going to have a big effect on your life.
Yeah, it's been funny. It's been nice to have Chris and Pablo over. Definitely not the only time we'll have them.
Like next week. Should we have you guys on? I think you guys should come back for a few weeks if you want, and just have you guys here for a few weeks. Maybe people get a little tired of just hearing us and our perspective.
Yeah,
We're gonna change it a little bit.
Yeah, I think so.
You guys have fun?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very
It's
cool.
amazing.
Thanks for having us.
All right. Thank you for sharing the perspective of opening up business in Costa Rica and for introducing yourself to the ones that didn't know you.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks again,
Have
guys.
a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Esto fue una producción de La Resortera.